Thank you for spending some time with our program coordinator. My name is John Maxwell, and again, all our desire is to come into your life and add value to you. So we are consistently and conscientiously reaching out to you. And the reason we're doing this is because we do believe that we have something to offer you that really will help you to reach your potential, realize your success, and be maybe the coach that you've always wanted to be, the speaker that you've wanted to be. But sometimes what happens to us in the process of making a decision of, should I get into this program? Should I do this? A lot of times we kind of hold ourselves back. We have what I would call an issue of self-image. We're not sure that we can do this. I mean, you're sitting there and you're saying to yourself, wow, I know what I would like to be, but I'm not sure I could be that. And let me just say, that feeling that you are right now experiencing happens to all of us. We all at times feel inadequate for the challenge or the task that is before us. Here's what's sad. Not that we feel that inadequacies. I think that's a human part of our life. What is sad is so many times it controls our decision. And here's what I have learned a long time ago, that if we sell ourselves short, we'll go throughout life having everyone else sell ourselves short. People will put the price tag on you that you put on yourself. So, if it's because I'm not sure I can do it, and so I'm a little bit hesitant to kind of enter into this kind of a program, I just want to encourage you by sharing with you what I have learned about self-image and what has taken place in my life since I began to understand the power of belief. Belief in not only what I'm doing, but belief in myself. In fact, I know a lot of people, they believe in themselves, but they don't believe in what they're doing. Well, that's not going to do you any good. I mean, if you don't believe in coaching and believe in speaking, you don't want to be in this program. You got to believe that coaching makes a difference, that speaking makes a difference. But you not only have to believe in it, you have to believe in you. You have to believe in yourself. Again, as I've used the expression, you got to bet on yourself. So let me kind of work you through the process of when belief is right, what happens through the sequence of getting us the results that we require and need in our life. Here's what I know. Belief determines expectations. Let's start there. I can tell what a person's internal belief is by watching their expectations about life. What they attempt, what they don't attempt, what they try, what they don't try, what they express, what they don't express. In other words, the way that inward belief sneaks out and shows up is through our expectations, our behaviors. There are certain things that we will do, that we will expect, that show whether we believe in ourselves or not. And I can confess to you, I know a lot of people, and their expector has expired. I mean, it really has. If you just look at them, you can just tell they're expecting nothing in life. And guess what? By the way, they're getting nothing in life. And they're also looking around saying, I told you nothing good could happen to me. I told you I couldn't do this. Of course they could. You became a prophet of your entire destiny because you basically expected nothing, you received nothing. But let's talk about that expectations, because belief determines expectations. One of my favorite stories, in fact, I tell it in my book, Talent is Never Enough. I love the story about of these pre-med students that were in a molecular biology class, and the prof came before the class. It was the final exam. You know, oh my goodness. The weight of getting a good grade in this class was so important for these pre-med students. And so the prof looked at him and said, I know you've worked hard all semester. You're good students. You're solid. And he said, I made a decision today that I want to help you get into your med school, and so you don't even have to take the test. If you want to, you can just get up now and you can walk out of the class and I will give you a B, which will be okay for your grade point average, and you can get into med school. I'll just give you a B because I know you're all good students. I know you've studied. So all those that don't want to take the test and want to be, you can just get up and leave. And I tell you what, the class, they broke out in applause. 90% of them stood up and went around to the prof, said, thanks, prof, appreciate it. Woo, wow, glad to get that load off of me. Out of the class they went. They all got out of the class. The prof looked at those 10% remaining students and said, now, you know what? I'm going to give you one more opportunity. You don't have to take this test if you don't want to. I will give you a B just because I know that you've worked hard and you're a good student. One other kid says, you know what, I think I'll take you up on out he went. Now, only remaining in the class are those who want to take the test. So he passes the test out to them. And as they get the test, they look at it, and it says at the top, congratulations. You have just received an A in this class because you believe in yourself. Sign your name, and you can leave. Wow. Probably 5 minutes separated the B students from the A students. They all walked out of the class. None of them took the test. But one group, they just didn't believe in themselves enough to take the chance. You see, when you have a good self-image, when you believe in yourself, your expectations will be high in yourself. High enough, you'll take the chance. Now, when your expectations, what do? Your expectations determine your actions. In other words, what we expect determines how we act. It now begins to show up in our daily behavior. I love this story. In fact, in my very first book, the very first book I wrote back in 1979, think on these things. I tell the story about the kid who was fishing, and another guy on the other side of the lake was kind of watching him. It was a little small lake, kind of a big glorified pond, and he was watching with great interest. This kid was catching fish, but if they were big ones, he would throw them back in, and if they were small ones, he would keep them. And the guy had never seen anybody keep the small ones, throw the big ones back in, so he kind of worked his way around to the other side of the lake and got up to him and continued to watch his kid keep the small ones, throw in the big ones, and finally looked at the kid and said, I've never seen anybody do this before. Usually you keep the big ones and throw back the small ones. The kid said, oh, no, you don't understand. He said, I only have a 7-inch frying pan. You see, he was allowing his frying pan to determine the size of the fish that he kept. Well, if your expectations are low, your actions will show that. If your expectations are higher, your actions will also show that. So, our belief determines our expectations, and our expectations determine our actions. And finally, our actions determine our results. What we end up with life starts in the birthing of our belief, our expectations, and then our actions. So, people with great results have a high degree of belief in themselves. People with low results, low return in life, very low belief in themselves. In Switzerland, this is very common. This is not kind of like the great mountain climbers, because Switzerland has great mountains, but they have also some mountains that are climbable within a day. And you don't have to be an expert or professional or even have a professional guide, but you do have to exert a lot of effort to get to the top. Well, on some of those mountains in Switzerland, they have what they call halfway houses, so that everybody starts at the bottom of the mountain, and about noontime, they come to the halfway house. And the tendency is that you go in and you sit there and you got a warm fire in the fireplace, great picture windows, big glass windows where you can look out at all the scenery, the mountains. You can even see the mountain that you're climbing. And people begin to have warm food. There's a piano there and fire in the fireplace. And inevitably, they say, that everybody that started at the bottom of the mountain, as the lunch is over and people are kind of getting a little rested and really warm and kind of satisfied, that there are always a few that will kind of say, you know what, we're going to just stay here. You're going to go up to the top of the mountain tomorrow at noon. You're going to be coming back down. We'll join you. We'll go back down. We're going to lodge here tonight. We're just going to enjoy themselves. And so as the rest of them start to climb the mountain, those who remain at the halfway house, they eat a little bit more food, get around the piano, sing some songs, just enjoy themselves by the fire. But inevitably, towards evening, they go over to the big window and they start looking to the top of the mountain. And sure enough, in the far distance, high above them, they see their friends. The friends that they started out with in the morning at the bottom of this mountain. And they become very quiet. No more singing, no more laughter, just kind of a sense of melancholy invades that halfway house. Because all of a sudden, the people that are still there warming themselves with the fire realized they sold themselves short. If they would have kept going, about now, they would have been at the top of the mountain. They would have been taking pictures. They would have been, quote, planting flags. They would have been getting their group together and beginning to have the memories that they would want to have for a lifetime of when they paid the price to climb the mountain. But now it's quiet at the halfway house because they now have realized, because they did not believe in themselves, they sold themselves short, and their belief determined their expectations, which determined their actions, which determined their results. And now they had no story to tell. They had no memories to hold because they sold themselves short. I don't want that to happen to you. If you really want to be a coach, if you really want to be a speaker, if you want to learn how to communicate effectively, I encourage you, get back to the program director, talk it over a little bit more, and just see if there isn't a way for you to work out, for you to be able to climb to the very top of this mountain. And by the way, when you become a coach and you begin to add value to people, or you begin to learn how to communicate and speak, when you get to the top of your mountain, stick a flag up there and say to yourself, you know what, Maxwell told me that if I just stayed with it, someday I'd have a memory. That's what I want for you.